J.J. Watt is free. Where would he land? Cole Sports presents on the Daily. Well, after a little bit of a respite, I'm back. Cole Johnson's live in the living color on the Daily Sun Tap, presented by Cole Sports. And if you haven't done this already, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell to get any and all content that emanates from here as we give you content every Monday through Friday. So be in the know whether it is your house, your work, your school, your church, or wherever you congregate with people on the daily, Monday through Friday, only on the Cole Sports YouTube channel. That's Cole Sports with a Z. Let's get right to it. Monday. And you know what we do on Mondays. We're not going to disappoint or deviate from what we do on Mondays. Yeah. So we're talking about J.J. Watt, Justin James Watt. And he has been released from the Texans after playing there 10 years. And he has a bevy of places where he can go. Where? Well, I think I got about 5 of them that would fit him. And I'll give the pros and the cons to all 5 on this edition's The List. So number 99 in your hearts, and number 1 in your hearts if you're a Texans fan, will not don this uniform for the rest of his career. Probably the next time he does, it will be a one-day contract saying he's going to retire from NFL football. Now he's a free agent, which is something he hasn't been. And he has a slew of teams where he can go. Where? I'll give you 5 of them that I think would be the best fit for him. And here we go. The first of the 5 would be the Seattle Seahawks. Almost want to say Seattle Supersonics so bad because the NBA needs the Supersonics to return to Seattle. I digress. That is for another video for another time. But I'm not talking about the NBA. I'm not talking about the Supersonics. I'm talking about the Seahawks. Yes, the ones that are led by this man, number 3, Russell Wilson. And there has been a development with the team, reportedly and allegedly, saying that Russell Wilson has been disappointed in the input that he has been able to place upon the team, and he feels dissatisfied with it. And there has been some disdain, reportedly, coming out of Seattle, saying that there has been some discord between him and management, similar to that, yes, of Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans organization. I don't know how much credence I lend to that, but part of why I would think they would entertain, if this is true, a J.J. Watt is because, well, this defense, they were not all that stellar this past year. They had some injuries. They had some continuity issues. And yes, I mean, they had Jamal Adams on the team who led them. And of course, you had Bobby Wagner, who, of course, is the heart and soul of the Seahawks defense and the heart and soul of the team, in my opinion, even more so than Wilson is. They need to have a run stopper, and they may have addressed it in one Carlos Dunlap. And I think this is the only reason why I do not see the Seahawks pulling the trigger, because Dunlap does similar things that Watt does. So I'm thinking that the Seahawks will pass on Watt because they already have someone who they deem is a qualified run stopper. But I would still put a flyer out on Watt and listen to him if he is interested in making his way to the Pacific Northwest. Now, the number 2 team, I think, that would have J.J. Watt's interest peaked, the Kansas City Chiefs. And the interest will be peaked for one simple reason. They need to have a run stopper. And yes, they also need to have a pass rusher other than a Frank Clark. Now, he does a good job, but your hopes and dreams, if you are a Kansas City defensive minded person, or if you're the defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, your hopes and dreams of a pass rush is pinned on number 55. You want to have him be the guy. And to me, Clark is the type of pass rusher that he does best if he has another one on the opposite side of him. Watt would provide that. And even so, he'll provide that even not being a linebacker. He'd provide that being a defensive end. But he needs help. And on that line, Chris Jones, number 95, needs help too. And I think Tyrann Mathieu would love to have a reunion with Watt because they worked well together when they played in Houston together. But the one reason why the Chiefs would have J.J. Watt on their team, they didn't want to have this happen to their own quarterback, like what happened earlier in the month. They did not want to have Patrick Mahomes running for his life like he did in Super Bowl 55. They would want Watt to do that to the opposing quarterback. So when you have that issue, then you almost have to look, okay, well, do we need offensive line help? Yes, but not an offensive line stud. The reason why you had that issue and the reason why Mahomes was hurried almost 30 times in that game was because you had two all-pro tackles gone for the Super Bowl. Both of them were injured. So when you have replacements, that line is not going to be as fluid. They're not going to be as in sync as when you have those perennial all-pro tackles right and left. So it's not that they need an offensive line stud. They need an offensive line depth, because that to me is what proved what the Chiefs need more. And I think the con with that is they probably won't consider Watt because they probably would consider offensive line depth a bigger pressing need and issue for them than to have someone else who could stop the run. But that is a need that the Chiefs do need to address. Number three, the number 3 team that would have J.J. Watt come a-calling, why not the defending champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean, you have Tom Brady, who is about to be 44 when they reconvene once again to defend that championship, with an offense that's solid. I won't say it's great, but it's solid. They have good pieces. I mean, in the backfield, you have Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. In the passing game, you do have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And you have Scotty Miller if you forget about him. And with the tight ends, you do have a couple of young bucks with the guy who's in his prime now in Rob Gronkowski. And the offensive line is starting to gel and come together. But it's that defense, to me, that the unit is unheralded. They had their issues, especially in the secondary, but as the season went along, they grew and they bonded and they gelled. They came together. They seemed to communicate better, and they seemed to be the better unit than the offense as the season went along and as the playoffs came. Imagine if number 99 was a defensive end on that team, because that defense could stand to get better. And they would be better if they had Watt on the defensive end, stopping the run or getting after the passer. Imagine him opposite either Shaquille Barrett or opposite Jason Pierre-Paul. Talk about pick your poison as to who to stop. It's frightening just to think about it. The number 4 team, to me, that would benefit from a J.J. Watt visit and eventual stop in playing there, why not go home? The Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is just a little while north of where he grew up. he was born in he was born in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and he grew up in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. And basically, those two cities in Waukesha County is sandwiched in between Milwaukee and Chicago. So it's near the Wisconsin-Illinois border. So Watt is a Wisconsin guy. He went to Wisconsin in college. So he is a Midwesterner through and through. And you don't think he listened to a whole horde of Packers radio when he grew up? You don't think that he understands how important it is for the Packers to become champs again? And you don't realize that he understands how huge football is in the state of Wisconsin, especially in Green Bay? You don't think he understands that? He grew up with that. He grew up in his blood. So he knows this. Plus, you have a team that is motivated to give Aaron Rodgers another ring before he calls it quits. After all, you can't just keep knocking on the door to the Super Bowl and fail to get in. NFC Championship appearance in 2019, NFC Championship appearance in 2020, neither time proved successful. So it's possible that they may think that a guy like J.J. Watt, who they do need run-stop help, could be the one key that puts them over the top. And they could have the same motivation as the Bucs do in a renewed focus. Okay, well, we can't say win one for Rodgers. Let's win one for JJ. The Bucs and the Packers would have an aligned purpose and rallying cry if he joins either team. Which brings me to be the final team where JJ Watt will consider calling his next NFL home. Western Pennsylvania, hello, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why not? Football town, football area. They love their players. And one of the rare stops in NFL, that fan base loves defense. I think they love defense more than they love offense. And it's because the defense sort of typifies the Pittsburgh way. Blue collar guys or girls, they roll up their sleeves. They believe in hard work. They believe in determination. They believe that they can stop whatever is coming up against them because they feel things are coming against them. And if they can stop that, then they feel as though they've done something. And they get power from that. And it's been that way ever since the Steel Curtain days of the 1970s. You don't think that J.J. Watt would love to say that he played on the same team that had Mean Joe Green on the same line? And if that isn't motivation enough for him, the biggest reason outside of a ring and money for him, he'll be joining his family. Fullback Derek Watt, linebacker TJ Watt. Oh, and not only linebacker TJ Watt, but Defensive Player of the Year candidate TJ Watt. Not only that, sack leader of the NFL TJ Watt. You don't think that would be motivation enough for JJ to call Pittsburgh home? And in fact, I think that is where he's going to end up. They say that the salary cap is going to be an issue, but JJ doesn't care about money because he has the money. For him, it is simply all about enjoying where he plays and having a chance to get a ring. And if he can get a ring and play with his family, he has killed two birds with one stone. All I care about is I hope he's happy wherever he lands. Thank you, JJ, for the years you put in at Houston. If you want this shirt you see right before your very eyes, the description box below has all the details. Now, what team do you think JJ Watt is going to go calling? What team do you think he's going to call home in 2021? I would like to know from you. Like this video and share it throughout your social media. Comment below because I want to hear what you have to say, VIP. Your comments are gold to me. Don't forget, hit that notification bell and subscribe to this channel for any and all content that emanates from here. Well, that's all the time I have. Thank you so much, VIP. I love you. It is wonderful to be back. And for all of us here at Cole Sports, I'm Cole Johnson, saying that this has been yet another installment of Cole Sports on the visual and on the daily.